Hello friends, welcome back to another GIT series on my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing great and taking care of yourself. Before we start with today's video, if you haven't watched my previous videos on GIT, then please go and watch that. It will give you an overview of how to install GIT on your local machine and some terminologies related to the GIT world. When we talk about Git, the first thing in our mind comes that Git is the distributed version control. The second thing which comes into the mind is branching, and that's what we are going to talk in today's video. In today's video, I will be basically walking you through the what is branching and why we need branching, and the third, we will be talking about the merging process adopted by the Git. So without any delay, let's get started. So, friends, let's have a quick recap of the Git stages or the Git workflow concept. On the left side of the dotted line, we have a local machine. The local machine is nothing but your local computer on which you have cloned the Git repository by executing a command git clone and the path of the remote repository. And on the right side, it's the remote repository, and it can be your GitHub, it can be your stash, it can be your Bitbucket, etc. On the left side is the three areas which you need to take into consideration. The first area is nothing but a workspace, which is nothing but a local folder in which you are writing a code in a file or modifying the existing file. In our case, we are basically modifying the content of file 1, and once we have modified the content of file 1, we are now going to add that into the indexing or the staging area. And how can we add that? By executing a simple command called git add file 1, which is in our case. Now the file is basically staged in this area. Remember one thing, the staging or the indexing area is the replica of your workspace or a local folder. Now, moving to the further stage, we will be now committing the changes into our local repository. And how can we do that? By executing a simple command git commit file 1 and adding a comment to it. Now, once we have committed the code into our local repository, it's the time to push the file or the content to the remote repository so that it becomes accessible to other team members who are going to download the latest code from the remote repository. And how can we do that? By executing a simple command called as git push origin. Like on our local machine, we have a master branch. On the remote repository, it's a origin branch. So don't get confused, but it's just a different terms to differentiate between a local machine and a remote repository branches. Now at the same time, you want to download or pull the updated code from the remote repository, and to do that, all you need to do is execute a command git pull origin master. That's where, once you execute the command, all the latest code will be pulled into your master branch on your local machine, that is your local computer. I hope you got a basic visualization of the git workflow. So moving to our next main topic is the git branching. So, what is branching and why we need? So, the branching is a feature available in modern version control systems in, like Git, GitLab, Stash, Bitbucket, etc. Instead of copying the files from directory to directory, the Git stores a branch as a reference to the commit. In this sense, a branch represents the tip of series of comments. It's not a container of a comments, but it's a tip. It's a tip of, like I would say, a simple, like a tree has a branches. So that's what it is in a simple term, that you, a tree has different branches attached to it. Why we need branching? The branching facilitates the development of bug fixes, addition of new capabilities, and integration of new versions after they have been tested in isolation. Now, let's get the visual understanding of what we are talking about. And to get that understanding, here is a simple example of it. Suppose you have an app which does add, subtract, and division, and that code of that add, subtract, division is now in the master branch. Now your project manager comes and says that, hey, user wants something called as a multiply feature in our app, so let's try to develop that. So instead of making changes directly into the master branch, which can have an impact if you have not properly tested or your code has the bugs and you're directly commenting in the master branch, it can be a disaster situation. So to avoid that, what we do is we create a branch called as a feature branch by executing a command called git branch and the name of the branch. We will be seeing this demonstration in the next few minutes. So in this case, I have a user creates the future brand in which he basically starts writing the code for the multiply. And once he has written the code, now he wants that code to merge to the master branch so that it gets rolled out into production and it is available to the users. And that's where he executes git merge command to get the code of multiply push into the master branch. And from there, basically, we get it pushed to our remote repository where basically the code is now available to the other members in the team, or right. So this is why this is a classic example where why we need the branching. I hope you got an understanding of it. Moving to our next important topic, which was the focus of this video, was merging process. So basically, Git opts for the two-way merge process, which we call as the fast forward merge process. So the two-way merge is a simple case where the branching involves two snapshots. Let's clear it up with an example. I'm going to show a demo of this, but from the visualization, you have a master branch and now you have committed the code and push. You have committed the code and here is where your commit is, and now you have created a branch called as feature one and you have committed the code in the future one branch. Now you need to push your changes to the master branch, and that's where you would be basically committing the code to the master branch or merging it with the master branch, and that you can do it by git merge the name of the branch you want to merge with the master. And after you have merged that branch, this is how it looks. So it has a master branch, commit, feature branch, and the commit of the feature branch, right? I hope you got an understanding, but we will be soon looking at the practical scenario of this. Moving to another process of merging, which Git opts for, is a three-way merge, or we call as a recursive merge. Sorry for the typo error. I will correct it soon. So the three-way merge involves the three snapshots. So when it's the time to merge, the Git recursively over the branch and creates a new merge commit. The merge commit continues to have two parents. We will shortly look at the practical example of what this is. So before we start, let me tell you a scenario. In this case, we have the we had the master branch here, we have a commit here, we then created a feature branch here, and then we committed the code in the feature branch. But at the same time, we have basically committed few more commits into the master branch, and now we want those commits and the feature commits to be combined and be has a one commit. And that's where the Git plays an important role of recursive merge, where it basically creates a new commit id, and where where it has the future commits as well as the master commits. And now that commit is your master branch. I hope you got a basic understanding of it. Let's look at the practical session. So, friends, I came across this cool website which gives you a visualization of the Git commands which you will be executing on the console. Doesn't this seems to be cool? Don't worry, I will be pasting the link of this website in my video description. So, without wasting time, let's get started. So, if you see on the screen, we have a master branch, which is an origin slash master, and there is something called as a head. The head is nothing but a pointer. Head would be always pointing to the latest commit. It's like we have studied in C++ programming languages. It's a similar concept of pointer here as well. So let's get start executing some commands. So I wanted to check which is my branch, and I see my current branch is a master branch. Let's create a branch called as a feature branch, where we will be doing some commit and then we will be trying to merge it. Let's see. So to create a branch, you need to execute a command called as git branch and the branch name. In my case, I'm writing feature, and that's where we have now created the feature branch. Okay, but remember, still the head is pointing to a master branch. It is not yet pointing to the feature branch. To do that, what we need to do is git checkout feature, and now we are in the feature branch and our head is pointing to the feature branch. How can you check? Git branch last. That's great. Now let's do some commits. And here is our first commit, and now you see the head is moved to the latest commit. And how can you check that? Git log. That's where we are. Now let's do few more commits. And now head is moved to the latest commit, and that you can check by executing git log. So that's my latest commit 595A730D. That's the commit ID. Okay, let's do one more commit, and then and now we have done another commit called third commit, and head is pointing to the latest commit ID. Now, let's try to basically merge our commits to a master branch. And how can you do that? All you need to do is switch the branch or switch the header to the master. How can we do that? Let's execute something called as git check out master. And now the head is pointing to the master branch because we have switched to the master branch. And how can we check that? Git branch. That's it. Now let's merge our code or the commits which we have done to our master branch. And to do that, all you need to do is execute a simple command git merge feature, the name of the branch, which in our case is feature. And that's where now you have merged your code to the master branch. And as soon as you type that, you see the Git has performed fast forward merge. And our head is also pointing to the latest commit. So that's where we have all our information, and that's you can see in the log file as well by executing git log. So doesn't seems this to be a cool to get an understanding of what we have learned in our previous slides. Now you have just committed to the local repository. Remember, we need to move that to the origin, and that's where this origin is. And how can we do that? Git push. So git push origin. That's yeah. Now your code or your come updated code or files what you have modified save in the staging area master, you have now moved to the remote repository, and that's how we see here. All right, I hope you got an understanding of the fast forward stuff. Now let's move to our second merging process, which is nothing but the three-way or a recursive merging. Okay, let's create one more branch, but before that, let me check which branch I am pointing to. So I am pointing to the master branch. I'm not going to. Okay, let me first remove this feature branch and start with another branch called has develop. So how can we remove the branch? Branch git branch d and the branch name, which in our case is feature. And now we have removed that branch. If you see, we have only one branch called as a master branch. Now let's create a branch called as develop. Git branch develop. Okay, so we have a develop branch here. Let's switch our branch to develop, and our head is pointing to that. And let's check that, and it is develop. Let's do few comments. Comment. We have committed. Let's do one more commit. So we have two commits. And now suddenly I change my mind. I want to do some commits into the master branch. And let's get into a master branch by executing checkout master. And now our head is pointing to a master. And here I do do one commit, I do another commit. So we have done two commits on the master branch. And remember, we have two commits into our development branch. But now, if you see, we do not have the updated code of our develop branch into the master branch. We just have the code which is in the master branch and which is committed. To do this, now let's merge the codes or the commits into a one commit, and that's where it is called as a three-way or recursive commit opt by the git. And to do that, what we need to do is check out, we are already in the merge branch. Let's see, one sec. Git log, this is your git log. Now let me to git merge develop, and that's now a new commit ID created which has your updated code of the development branch as well as the master branch, and the head is pointed to the updated commit ID. I hope you got an idea of three-way or a recursive merging process. But we have done this on our local repository. Now the turn is to move this code to an remote repository, which is origin. Right? To do that, git push origin. And that's where our code has moved now to the remote repository, and it's up to date. Doesn't this seems to be a cool for practicing and getting our hands on git branching and understanding the merging process? I hope you got an understanding of the merging process with this simple cool website visualization. Thank you. I hope today's video made your concepts clear on the Git branching and the merging process. It's the Git call whether it needs to go for a fast forward merge or a recursive three-way merge. You do not need to bother about those processes, but you need to understand the concept of merging process of by Git. If you have liked this content, kindly do hit the like button and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until then, take care. Bye bye.